So they're playing great, and Trent McDuffie and crew could not handle CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Dak was great. And, Nick, the defense I thought was good. They held the Chiefs scoreless in the second and third quarters, gave up the 2 touchdowns early, and the first one was after the interception, so it was a short field. And then, held the Chiefs pretty good till the fourth, and the Chiefs scored. And so that defense, we know if that defense just is solid. We've been saying it all year.
They're really dangerous.
The offense is great, and they are absolutely dangerous. So I do fear Jerry saying the wrong thing, getting way ahead of himself. He hasn't uttered Super Bowl yet, but that's probably coming too early.
Great call.
And maybe that'll derail things. But, hey, right now, there's only one grade to give them for what they did the other day. And it –
Great acting.
He's just the best.
Well, look. Nick stole my bit early on, so I got to steal one of your bits and go to the banners. A-game.
Another A-game, 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 A-game.
This is balling. There's no doubts about it.
So I want to say something about Dak, because, again, if people didn't watch Wednesday's show, you don't need to.
They're binging it. Like, I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, don't worry. But we got into probably a more heated argument than we typically do on this show, even though I want this show to be competitive sports debate. You guys want it to be a friendly hang. And some of it was based on Brew and I saying, Mahomes in a big game, Dak in a big game, this is a big game, playoff adjacent, and Wild was like, it's not the playoffs. We were like, but kind of it is. And
Wild saying, Mahomes is a very
good player, but let's not get into But to that note, I was more impressed by Dak's performance after he threw the first pick. Like, because I know obviously he was better after that was his first pass of the game, or second pass of the game. My point is, I was more impressed by how he played than I would have been if he had never thrown the pick. Because it felt like, the moment that happened, it's like, oh, this reminds me of the start of the Packer playoff game, that it was like, oh, this is 50 million people watching, season on the line, playing the Chiefs. He's been playing great, throws the pick, and it's going to spiral on him. And the opposite happened. He played great. He has to be, I don't want to overstep, he has to be on Brew's ballot this week, in my opinion.
Yes, you see, that line of reasoning is completely nonsensical, because Nick Wright never extended that same analytical courtesy to Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals last season, when Burrow was in fact producing astronomical statistics. Both franchises currently find themselves outside the playoff picture. Both have contended with defensive deficiencies, though it should be noted the Cowboys' defensive unit appears to be improving. The comparison renders the initial argument somewhat absurd. I don't intend to delve deeply into the MVP discussion, but the reality is Dak Prescott performed exceptionally. However, two critical contextual points must be emphasized. Nick framed this as a monumental contest for the Cowboys, with significant playoff implications. The counterpoint is that, from a broader perspective, facing the Chiefs at home presently doesn't carry the same intimidating weight it historically has. No one is genuinely fearful of this iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs in the manner they once were. As Nick himself pointed out earlier, this Chiefs defense currently ranks 29th in the league on third and long situations, 7+ yards to go. Furthermore, they share concerning statistical company with the New York Giants and Miami Dolphins in categories like losses when trailing or failing to hold a fourth-quarter lead. This aligns precisely with my long-standing analysis of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. My contention has been that if you are not an elite team, particularly if you lack a formidable defense, Dak Prescott will systematically dissect and dismantle you. I expressed before this game that I was more intrigued by the Cowboys' performance against Kansas City than their upcoming clash with Philadelphia. I've consistently viewed Eagles-Cowboys matchups as the quintessential divisional grudge match. Always fascinating, but often yielding limited, broad-spectrum takeaways due to the unique rivalry dynamics. The intrigue is amplified because the Eagles are not playing well currently, and frankly, neither are the Chiefs. Or rather, the Chiefs aren't playing poorly, but they are not even in the current playoff field. Their defensive metrics as cited are subpar. Yet they remain a well-coached, well-prepared organization capable of presenting schematic complexities, at least on the defensive side of the ball. My focus here is specifically on the Chiefs' defense against the Cowboys' offense, as that is the more revealing narrative. Patrick Mahomes was brilliant. Dak Prescott threw a regrettable interception. Demonstrating resilience after such a mistake is always impressive. This was overall an outstanding performance by Dak and the entire Cowboys operation. For me, this victory revealed more about the collective character of the Dallas Cowboys team than about Dak Prescott individually, especially when viewed through the lens of the opponent's current state. Let's reiterate, this Kansas City Chiefs squad currently possesses a worse record than the Carolina Panthers. They are not in the playoffs. They have an identical record to the Houston Texans, who started backup quarterback Davis Mills for a significant portion of the season. They share a record with the Baltimore Ravens, who have been without Lamar Jackson for stretches. Therefore, we cannot conflate this version of the Chiefs with the historic dominant archetype. My greater interest lay in observing how the Cowboys prepared, how they executed, and how they capitalized on big plays. It was a masterful display. I watched this game twice. The first viewing was on Thanksgiving amidst family chatter, while building connections with nieces and nephews. A scenario of divided attention where I was mentally noting key moments, like a spectacular Mahomes throw to Xavier Worthy. Later, I revisited the game in full, taking detailed notes. The contrasting experiences were fascinating. Hearing the reactions of casual football fans in my family, individuals who understand the sport but aren't immersed in daily analysis, was particularly telling. Their unanimous commentary was effusive. This is the best game I've ever seen. This game is extraordinary. This is unbelievable. The contest had a palpable, elevated quality where every participant rose to the occasion. The play calling, in my view, was brilliant. The offensive execution was precise. Dak Prescott operated at an incredibly high level. Everyone contributed. Williams, Davis, Turpin, each had a signature moment to shine. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens were phenomenal. It was a comprehensive team effort. This game underscores a fundamental truth. When you possess a complete roster where every individual fulfills their role, success follows. The Cowboys have an excellent offensive line, 2 elite wide receivers, and a top-tier rushing attack. As long as your defense isn't essentially inviting opponents into the end zone, you are positioned to win a substantial number of games. For a quarterback like Dak Prescott, the final frontier, the ultimate proof required, is to replicate this level of performance in the postseason, on the road, in adverse weather conditions, when the stakes are absolute and the pressure is maximal. While this game mattered immensely to Nick Wright and the Chiefs, it did not carry that same season-defining legacy weight for the Cowboys. This distinction is crucial. This observation connects to a broader theme I've noted after analyzing this week's slate of games. This is the most opportune season in recent memory to not have all the definitive answers. Presently, my genuine sentiment, and I believe this applies to every team perceived as a contender, is that each one feels equally capable of winning the Super Bowl or suffering a first-round exit. It is a wild, unprecedented state of parity. The Dallas Cowboys, while perhaps not officially a top team by record, are certainly performing like one. In previous seasons, you could confidently assert, the Bills will bring it. The Ravens will bring it. The Chiefs, 49ers, Eagles, these were franchises with proven blueprints, clearly defined identities, and quarterbacks with established postseason credentials. Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. This year, the landscape is utterly chaotic. The Jacksonville Jaguars are in the mix. Could you state with supreme confidence that if the Jaguars and Cowboys met in the Super Bowl, Trevor Lawrence would unequivocally outplay Dak Prescott? Of course not. The same uncertainty applies to matchups involving the Broncos with Bo Nix in his second year, the Patriots with Drake May in his second year, or a team led by Sam Darnold. Do masses of people possess unshakable confidence in Sam Darnold? I'm aware many do not. This pervasive uncertainty creates a fascinating competitive environment. Arguably, the most significant disadvantage for the Cowboys is their likely lack of home field advantage in potentially poor winter weather, a factor that could have been a major asset against higher-seeded opponents like the Seahawks or Rams. Do you trust Sam Darnold in cold, windy, rainy conditions? Do you trust an older Matthew Stafford, who has demonstrated some vulnerability when elements are less than ideal? That potential equalizer is absent for Dallas. Realistically, their most probable path is via the wild card, meaning a road game journey. Against any of the classically defined scary teams, they would likely play in relatively decent indoor or fair weather conditions, negating any inherent environmental advantage. The challenge then becomes straightforward. Can their defense contain Matthew Stafford? They have a formidable defense. Can Dak Prescott and the offense solve the schematic puzzles presented to them? Alternatively, envision a scenario where they are on the road in the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field against a resurgent Packers team. I am unequivocally in favor of that matchup. It represents pure box office entertainment. I would adore a playoff scenario where both the Eagles and Cowboys qualify. They are two iconic brands with massive fan bases. A wildcard showdown, perhaps a 4-versus-5 matchup with Dallas traveling to Green Bay, would be must-see television. The narrative of Micah Parsons returning to face his former team? That is premium content. Should the Eagles secure a first-round bye, however unlikely, the winner of that Cowboys-Packers clash could then face Philadelphia, setting up a dramatic rematch irrespective of the opponent. I am here for the spectacle, the noise, the drama, and the sheer entertainment. I constantly mentally engineer these ideal dramatic playoff brackets, though they seldom materialize. So many potential matchups would be enthralling. A frigid, brutal clash between the Packers and Cowboys is particularly appealing. That is precisely the stage where Dak Prescott would have the opportunity to cement his legacy, to prove he is that caliber of player, that he is different, special, and great, to finally silence the critics who judge him by past postseason shortcomings. That is the singular remaining box to check. The moment he accomplishes that, the entire narrative context shifts. Until then, the "yeah, but" qualifier persists. Currently, he has everything required for success: a dominant offensive line, a potent rushing attack, an arsenal of elite weapons, and seemingly effective coaching. He possesses all the components. These are undoubtedly exciting times for the Dallas Cowboys franchise. But these are simply my reflections. I would be absolutely delighted to hear your own. What are all of your thoughts concerning the Dallas Cowboys? How do you assess their performance against the Kansas City Chiefs? Do you believe they are a dangerous team capable of securing a playoff berth? Truthfully, if they fail to reach the postseason, it would represent a massive, monumental missed opportunity and an indictment of prior roster management, considering the talent assembled this season. That, however, would be a separate, more somber conversation. We shall observe how the playoff race unfolds. It is exceptionally tight and somewhat chaotic at the moment. I suspect the Cowboys likely require several other teams to falter for them to secure a spot. Their destiny may not be entirely within their own control. There remains time for the picture to clarify. Let me know your perspectives in the comments section below. I read every single comment. So, whether you find yourself in agreement or in vehement opposition, let's engage in some dialogue. Let's have some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's ensure we are enjoying the process. And please do consider subscribing. We are in the process of cultivating a phenomenal community here and would absolutely adore having you as a part of it. My goal is to build something to which we all feel a genuine connection, something we are genuinely thrilled to be involved with. I believe we are making significant progress toward that objective. Also, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists with its visibility within the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much for your time and engagement.